the Sacramento Kings episodes here on our Kings related podcast. Scott Perry, the new front man in the front office. Doug Christie elevated to the full-time head coach. You got Dennis Schroeder, who you signed, a veteran point guard, providing that leadership after the Fox trade. Did not have a point guard since that trade and for the rest of last season. They picked up the $2.3 million team option on Keon Ellis for this upcoming season, keeping him under the team control and setting him up for unrestricted free agency next summer, which is not exciting. Welcome back to another episode of our Kings-related podcast, wherever you may be. And on today's episode, we are going to preview the upcoming season, and we'll look at the Pacific Division, where the Sacramento Kings reside, and we'll look at all other teams from both LA teams, Phoenix, Golden State, and of course, Sacramento. But first, if you're watching this on our Kings-related YouTube channel, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Also, if you're watching on Spotify, please hit that follow button, rate 5 stars. Listening on Apple Podcasts, do the same. Hit that follow button and leave a nice little review and a 5-star rating. Also much appreciated. The NBA offseason is surely quickly coming to an end. After the dead period of the offseason last month, things are going to pick up here in the month of September, with Media Day coming up, training camp, and with the offseason additions made by both teams in Los Angeles, the Lakers and the Clippers. Those two teams seem to be in the position to legitimately be the most dangerous teams in this division. And if you want to put Golden State third, and then you can flip-flop Sacramento and Phoenix towards the bottom of this division. Because if we just look at the Pacific Division, like you got the Phoenix Suns, who've got a new head coach, new front office. They're sort of in a gradual rebuild after trading Kevin Durant this offseason. They bought out Bradley Beal. Yes, you still got Devin Booker, who you re-signed for a 2-year deal. You got a young emerging star in Jalen Green. How's that fit gonna turn out? Sacramento, it's a veteran Kings team. The pieces do not mix together. So, and then you got the Clippers. Yes, you got Kawhi. You got Chris Paul back with the Clippers. Bradley Beal is in with the Clippers as well. John Collins comes over in that trade this offseason from Utah, which I really like that move by the Clippers. You got Brook Lopez, who's come over from Milwaukee in free agency. The Clippers, like the one thing about the Clippers is, can they stay healthy? And of course, you got the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James. He's 23rd season, I believe, in the league. But they're transitioning into the Luka Doncic era with the Lakers. And they made some nice moves this offseason. And then you got the Golden State Warriors as of right now. As I'm recording this on a Wednesday, the Golden State Warriors are the only team in the NBA that has not made a move this offseason. You got the Kuminga situation that's out there. All likelihood that he could go back to Golden State on that qualifying offer come, I believe it's October 1st. You got Al Horford, who's been linked to Golden State this free agency once this Kuminga situation is all said and done. You got DeAnthony Melton as well, linked to Golden State. But it's a Golden State Warriors team where you got 3 aging pieces of that core. Steph Curry, who is still an elite player, the best three-point shooter that we have ever seen in the association. Draymond Green, who's still one of the best defensive players, but he's not the defensive player that he was when he was in his prime. Jimmy Butler, who they acquired last February from Miami, and then awarded him with an extension, new deal. But it's an aging threesome there with Golden State. And can they stay healthy? They lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the playoffs this past season. And then you got some young talent on that Golden State team. Can they elevate their game? Brandon Podzinski, who's really played well for that Golden State team. Moses Moody, when he plays, really plays well. I thought Buddy Hield played well for Golden State this past season. But it's an aging core of Curry, Draymond, and Stephen Curry for the Golden State Warriors. And so we'll look first at the Los Angeles Lakers. You got the Luka Doncic extension, 3-year, $165 million max extension, locking him up through the 28 season, a player option for the 28-29 season. And he is that Lakers franchise cornerstone going forward. And then they signed Marcus Smart, a veteran guard, 2-year, $11 million deal this offseason. He brings that defensive grit, the leadership, playoff experience. DeAndre Ayton, who could fill that void from Anthony Davis going up to Dallas in that trade last February after he was bought out by Portland. DeAndre Ayton, he joins the Lakers on a 2-year contract with a player option, fulfilling a much-needed size and presence on that interior. And Jake LaRavia, underrated move by the Lakers. And I hate saying that because I wish he returned to Sacramento. 2-year deal, $12 million deal. Jake LaRavia, a versatile two-way wing who can offer shooting, playmaking, and the versatility on the defensive end at a very team-friendly cost. But I also think the Lakers lose a big piece of their team from last year in Dorian Finney-Smith, who left in free agency to go to the Houston Rockets. I think that was a kind of a loss for the Lakers this offseason. But the Lakers, they entered this offseason with a very heavy committed payroll with Luka, LeBron, Rui, Austin Reeves, among others, all already taking up 76% of the projected cap. $100 million. LeBron, who opted into his $52.6 million player option, assuring his presence for this upcoming season. But I also think the Dorian Finney-Smith move where he opted out to go to Houston, I think that could be a loss for the Lakers, especially on the defensive end. I think they need more depth on that part of the floor if you're looking at it from the Lakers perspective. But the Lakers, they are clearly recalibrating around Luka as the new face of that franchise, with LeBron still offering that stability and the leadership with the front court additions like Ayton, and then you got the wing players like Marcus Smart, LaRavia, who could address the defense and the versatility what JJ Redick wants. Through the rotation kind of remained relevantly untested. So there's a clear upside in the rotation flexibility and the youth development, but also a little bit of room for a potential third star or some future tweaks before the trade deadline in February if they go out and make a big move. Plus, also, the Lakers just got sold for $10 billion this offseason. So, new ownership. And so we'll see who unlimited potential there. The other team in LA, as we go through the Pacific Division, the Los Angeles Clippers re-signed James Harden. 2-year, $81.5 million deal. 2nd year, a player option, partial guarantee. Bradley Beal joins the Clippers via a buyout from the Phoenix Suns on a 2-year, $11 million contract. See what kind of player you get from Bradley Beal. And that second year, a player option with a trade kicker to go along with it. An excellent value play given Beal's scoring pedigree. They're most likely coming off the bench for the Clippers this upcoming season. Brook Lopez, 2 years, $17.9 million, a veteran rim protector and floor spacer via the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, but who returns to the Clippers on a 2-year, $11.48 million deal, second year with a team option and a trade kicker. Nice piece for the Clippers. Chris Paul, a 1-year minimum salary contract, returning for his 21st season in the association to bring that veteran leadership as well. And plus, you got all the drama here in the past week regarding the Kawhi Leonard situation that's looming over this Los Angeles Clippers franchise. Also, a move that I like for the Clippers, John Collins. In a trade, 3-team trade with the Utah Jazz and the Miami Heat, where the Clippers sent Norman Powell to Miami. John Collins brings the scoring and rebounding firepower that the Clippers need for this upcoming season. So I really like that move by the Clippers. And LA, they're just double downing on the experience and the playoff readiness building around their star trio, Kawhi, James Harden, and a returning CP3, adding the front court depth as well with Collins, Lopez, while also with the addition of Bradley Beal just enhances that Clippers offensive firepower in a really brutal, competitive Western Conference. But however, I think there's still questions that could remain about the perimeter defense and the roster flexibility for this Clippers team. I believe they just lost Bogdan Bogdanovic, who was playing overseas in Eurobasket. Tough blow for the Clippers, losing Bogey. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery with his injury after playing in Eurobasket. The Phoenix Suns, I said it at the top of this episode. I think the Phoenix Suns in this Pacific Division, I think they're in a gradual rebuild. Traded Kevin Durant this offseason to the Houston Rockets. The Suns, they get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the draft rights to Malawach, the 10th pick overall, and they got future second-round selections as well. Mark Williams was acquired via trade from the Charlotte Hornets, reinforcing that front court for the Phoenix Suns. Really like that move for Phoenix this offseason. And that trade involved sending Mirich to the Charlotte Hornets. So really like that move, bringing in Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns. Also, the big news is the Suns, they bought out Bradley Beal's contract, stretching the remaining 2 years across 5 seasons before he signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. Devin Booker, the cornerstone of that Phoenix Suns franchise, a 2-year, $145 million max extension, keeping him under contract through the 29-30 season. And this is a Suns team, new front office, and Brian Gregory, and new head coach and Jordan Ott, who comes over from the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he was an assistant this past season. And again, I think this is a Phoenix Suns team in a gradual rebuild. And if you look at the Phoenix Suns, they enter a reset of this Phoenix team, moving on from the star pairings that failed to deliver the success that they hoped for when they made the moves, and trading KD and buying out Beal shows a pivot towards youth, draft capital, and cost flexibility. But Devin Booker remains the franchise anchor cornerstone of that Suns team, which is now flanked by a younger, more athletic supporting cast in Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, plus you got the new leadership there in the front office and on the coaching sideline with the new head coach. How would the fit with Booker and Green fit? From an offensive fit, Devin Booker, he remains the primary scorer and the playmaker, especially there in the crunch time. But Jalen Green could bring that explosive slashing and transition scoring, which complements Devin's half-court efficiency. Both Devin and Jalen are strong at attacking off closeouts, meaning the spacing around them is absolutely critical. Booker has improved as a facilitator. Green, who isn't a natural point guard, neither of them are, but Jalen Green can handle the secondary creation. And with Phoenix lacking a true floor general after the buyout of Bradley Beal, Jalen Green may get more on-ball reps and a chance to grow the decision making that he kind of lacked there this past season with the Houston Rockets. There are concerns defensively because both Devin and Jalen Green, they are both 6'4", 6'5". They're athletic, but they are both not strong. Defensively, perimeter defense, I think Jalen Green has the tools, but it hasn't been consistent on that end, on the perimeter defense. And then Dillon Brooks. I think this is the Dillon Brooks role. This is why the Phoenix Suns acquiring Dillon Brooks was crucial, because he'll likely guard whoever the Suns are playing. He'll guard the opponent's best wing or guard, allowing Devin and Jalen to conserve their energy for offense. I see the Suns finishing in the bottom of the Western Conference this season, below the play-in mix. They're in a very competitive Western Conference. The Sacramento Kings episodes here on our Kings related podcast. Scott Perry, the new front man in the front office. Doug Christie elevated to the full-time head coach. You got Dennis Schroeder, who you signed, a veteran point guard, providing that leadership after the Fox trade. Did not have a point guard since that trade and for the rest of last season. They picked up the $2.3 million team option on Keon Ellis for this upcoming season, keeping him under the team control and setting him up for unrestricted free agency next summer, which is not exciting. $0.9 million team option on big man Isaac Jones, transitioning him off of the two-way contract and solidifying depth in that front court. They traded JV to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for Saric and a trade exception. We know that the free agents, they signed Drew Eubanks, who was waived by the Clippers. The draft picks, Nick Clifford, Maxime Reynaud, first-round pick, and the second-round pick. Dylan Cardwell, two-way contract out of the University of Auburn. Isaiah Stevens, another two-way contract guy for the Sacramento Kings. Number 42 overall in the second round of this past June's draft. So I think you'll see more of Maxime Reynaud with the Stockton Kings more than the regular big squad in Sacramento. But if the Kings fall off like we think they are going to do come January and the trade deadline, then I want to see more Reynaud come when the calendar flips to 2026, because I want to see more of your young players getting majority of the playing time with the Sacramento Kings. Also, they re-signed, for some reason, Doug McDermott, 1 year, $3.6 million deal. Why? I have no idea. Veteran floor spacer, who knows? Didn't see much time last season. So the backcourt reinforcement with the departure of De'Aaron Fox last February, part of that trade. Dennis Schroeder, he fills that critical playmaking void that the Kings surely lacked after that trade in February, bringing the experience and the urgency to this guard rotation in Sacramento, and then you keeping control of Keon Ellis and Isaac Jones gives the Kings low cost, high upside rotational options for next season, especially if they move into a more youth movement when we flip the calendar to 2026. Drafting Clifford and Renault shifts towards athleticism and defense for Scott Perry, aiming to stretch the floor and build for the future. And then you got the veteran support. Doug McDermott as the reliability if he plays, and the spacing. Saric, if he plays at all, I don't think he'll play. He brings the versatility, the front court depth following the JV trade. I I don't think this Kings team is going to be any good this upcoming season. If they win 40 games, I will be surprised. But I think this Sacramento Kings team wins 37 games at the max. And the Sacramento Kings, they are leaning into a youth forward type rebuild because, as we know, let's do a full rebuild under this ownership. Because what the Kings are doing, they want to remain competitive with Levine, DeRozan, Domas, and what they brought in. But we've seen, for the short amount of time, we've seen the Levine-DeRozan pairing. It does not work. I believe, in my opinion, I think if you trade DeMar DeRozan, I think that will be the Kings will be worse off as a team, but I think the team as a puzzle will be better, if that makes any sense. So we'll see what happens with the Kings when we get to the trade deadline, but at the max, I think the Kings win a max of 37 games. Finally, the Golden State Warriors, as we wrap up this Pacific Division preview. As recording, the Golden State Warriors are the only team who have yet to make any moves this offseason. You got Jimmy Butler, who they acquired in February from the Miami Heat, who then immediately signed that 2-year, $120-something million extension. And again, you got Steph Curry, who's still elite but aging, and then you got Draymond Green, who's still one of the best defenders in the league, but he's as well aging. The Warriors, they snapped up cost effective by exercising their team options on Santos, Quentin Post for this upcoming season. And then you got the Jonathan Kuminga situation. Golden State, they extended that 7.9 qualifying offer, giving him the restricted free agency status, retaining all matching rights as this new season approaches. And according to reports out there, it is more likely that he'll sign that qualifying offer, play under that, and then become an unrestricted free agency next summer. So that would not be a good move for Golden State if he signs a qualifying offer and then he leaves next summer for basically nothing. So, as mentioned, the Warriors, they remain the only team not to sign or re-sign any player in free agency, even though they have been linked to guys like Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton, who have been floated out there. So, and you got Kevon Looney, who departed for the New Orleans Pelicans this offseason on a 2-year, $16 million deal with New Orleans. And you got a little front court vacancy there for the Golden State Warriors with Looney leaving. You still got your core of Butler, Curry, and Draymond, but also you got some young players there with Podzinski and Quint Post, who played well for Golden State last year after being a second-round pick for the Golden State. So the championship window, it might be still open for Golden State. I don't think it is because of the Western Conference and how competitive and tough it is. And I think Golden State, they need front court help with Looney now gone. And that's where you see the name like Al Horford, who would be a really nice seamless fit with the Golden State Warriors in Steve Kerr's rotation if they do sign them, because Al Horford can stretch the floor. He can also he shots related podcasts. I still look at the Lakers and the Clippers as the two favorites to lead this division. You can pick Golden State as third, and fourth and fifth you can have Phoenix and Sacramento battling it out there to see who will finish fourth and fifth this upcoming season. Who do you think will win the Pacific Division this upcoming season? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're watching this on our Kings related YouTube channel, please hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. And we're also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcast. And until next time, we'll see you next time on another edition of our Kings related podcast. And as always, take care and go Kings.